Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know how it goes. Yes, sir. Back to back, back to back, back to back nights. Hey, we are here. I think I'm here. If my camera stays still, I'll be straight. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to High School Basketball Weekly. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding, here with my guy.
Brian Reichert.
And if we could get this right, this is High School Basketball Weekly, episode 16. We have a very special guest on tonight. He's hitting me right now. Hold on.
Oh, baby.
You know, we do this live.
Pooh's his own producer and everything, so this guy's a one-man show.
I'm a one-man army like a son.
Seriously.
Hey, checking your spam. Yes. All right.
See, you know Pooh has been through the ringer when casually knows when the email's not there. Probably in the spam, my
It's
man.
probably in the spam. It's probably in the spam, and I didn't get a kickback, so
Yeah.
it should be there. It should be there. I didn't get a kickback. But I want to give a disclaimer for the show. Um, the thoughts and views of tonight's show is not of myself or Coach Reichert, but it is a well-respected voice and views from my mentor. Uh, my mentor called me today and said he wanted to come on tonight and do a special broadcast. And who am I to tell my mentor that he can't speak on my broadcast? He is the godfather of this platform.
Correct.
All right. So y'all gonna know who it is in a few minutes. And those who know about the godfather of this platform, y'all already know that he has a very, very huge voice in our community.
Tremendous.
Um, Definitely an activist. So we want to wait till he comes in the room because, listen, I've been under, I, not, I'm not gonna say stress, but I've been under a lot of, uh, can't say under. Let me just get this straight.
Yeah. Talk
I've
about
been getting a lot of calls from a lot of people,
it. No,
one of the reasons why we didn't go to the high school game in the PSAL because we didn't want to hear or have to answer to all the questions we don't know the answers to.
correct. And I just wrote that on the Twitter. I wrote hashtag no PSAL questions at this time. I mean, that's where I'm at. I've been bombarded with them. I can't imagine how much you've been dealing with. And you're right. It's not that it's stressful, but it's definitely a thing that's been frustrating on at least on how I feel about it. Because, like you said, we don't have many answers.
No, no, not at all. And again, we don't make the rules or enforce them.
No,
We just report the news.
we're trying to help people accountable to help these kids, man. That's what we're trying to do.
That's it. And look, even if it's like MSG or ESPN, they're gonna report on the news.
Of course.
Oh boy, coach, it's gonna get crazy here in a minute.
Yeah, I can't wait to have this guy on. And I mean, to follow up your episode yesterday with Mike Quick, which was absolutely electric from start to finish, you're really spoiling these guys on back to back days, man.
And I couldn't do it tonight without you, my guy. I want to make sure that we did this the right way. And the topic is high school basketball, which we're talking about. So it's only right that I bring on my guy and, join in on the fun because it's a lot been going on, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a product of the PSAL. So in no way, shape, or form will I ever bash the PSAL because I'm a product of it. Abraham Lincoln High School, Bobby Hartstein. And I was not caught, but I was in some controversy my senior year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell that story right now. after winning the championship in 1986, right? And I know my man John Arnold's like, oh my God, he's saying it again because I know he's watching. Salute to my guy John, another one of my guys who I talk to
Absolutely.
all the time. But my senior year was coming up.
Yeah.
I am probably slated to be like that guy in New
Yeah.
York City,
Yeah.
right? I was heavily recruited. A lot of people was coming after me. But my birthday was July 2nd,
Yeah.
July 2nd. And I turned 19. Now you can play when you're 19, correct?
Correct.
They moved that date up. So look, back then, that you couldn't turn 19 before July 1st. My
Correct.
birthday was July 2nd.
Correct.
I got caught up. So my coach was in a similar situation with another Lincoln product that we had, but his wasn't an age situation. His was he came in his 10th grade year,
Yeah.
right? And then they held him accountable for getting left back in junior high school, so he couldn't play his senior year and was ineligible,
Yeah.
right? That player was Spice Gilpatrick. So my coach didn't want me to end up in the same situation because Spice didn't go to prep school. He stayed the whole year in Lincoln and didn't play.
Yeah.
Division I prospect easily. Still wound up going to St. Peter's anyway. Then
With
wound up transferring and playing at Brooklyn College.
not playing and still, that means how good.
Oh, he was a great point guard for
Yeah.
sure. One of the best at Lincoln. So hold on, people. Hold on. I'm gonna come back to that story. Yeah, hello? I'm gonna resend it again. I'm gonna resend it again right now. So I had to leave New York City.
Yeah.
It hurt me. Like literally, I was distraught. And then Tom Konchowski stepped in and got me situated,
Yeah.
right? He told Oak Hill Academy about me and Maine Central. Make a long story short, I chose Maine Central.
So you chose Maine over Virginia? You crazy?
I'm gonna tell you the story. When we spoke to Steve Smith was acting like he didn't hear from Tom Konchowski, and Tom Konchowski didn't already spoke to him. So he said, "Let me call Tom back to verify you are who you are,
Yeah.
and you're a dog like he said you are." But then when we called Paul Pelicani, he was like, "Oh, definitely, I got one more scholarship left. You got it. I'm not promised you any starting positions." I said, "I'm starting," which I did, and I was the third leading scorer, like I was at Lincoln, and like I was at Fairleigh Dickinson. So nothing really changed with me. I'm still a baller, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it saved me, right? Because I would have been ineligible and stuck.
Yeah.
Here in New York City. But my coach had the presence of mind to not think of himself and think of me to make sure I had a career. And it changed my life forever. So I understand being in a tough situation coming up in New York City
Of course.
and might have been ineligible.
And Pooh, can I ask you something? You said, kind of that transition from junior year to senior year when you had to make that decision. You were kind of being recruited and looked at by a lot of schools. Did any of them, or did you talk to them about maybe, and I know it's totally different than now, but could you have maybe gone to one of those places early since you were almost ineligible for high school? Or were they like, hey, we like you, but you gotta we like you in what class you're in, not coming like classing up or moving up a grade, even though I know technically you were a day behind the age limit.
Right. No, that situation wasn't presented to me.
Yeah.
That situation wasn't presented to me.
I
But
didn't.
go ahead.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I know that And it happens a lot more today. So I was just wondering, what that was. But also, when you make the move to Maine, like, how do you talk to your family and stuff about that? Like, I'm going to Maine for a year and just leaving a state and finish high school still, kind of.
My mom was with it 100%. Whatever would help save her child
Yep,
and put him in a better situation, she was with.
that's awesome.
I'm the first one in my family to go to college, first
That's
one to graduate from college,
tremendous.
right?
Yeah.
So
And
now I have a whole bunch of nieces and nephews that graduated college and finished up and got their degrees, but I
yeah,
was definitely the first.
yeah, which don't say lightly, man. It means a lot. That's huge. It's a great accomplishment. And you know, I always say, you were spoiled at Fairleigh Dickinson for those couple of years for sure. Yeah, your coach was great. What's probably your favorite moment of Fairleigh Dickinson?
So hold on, I'm not finished yet. We
Yeah,
still have more controversy. So I get all my grades up, pass
yeah,
the ACT,
of
go to
course.
Fairleigh Dickinson my freshman year.
Yeah,
They just built the Rothman Center, right? Brand
mhm,
spanking new. I'm gonna open up a new gym. My guy Damari Riddick, who was a star at Lincoln, was the star at Fairleigh Dickinson. It was great.
perfect.
My 5 schools was Boston College, Connecticut, Fairleigh Dickinson, Jacksonville, Indiana State,
Wow,
right?
that's a great list.
Boston College and UConn wasn't what they was back then. They was getting smacked and it was the bottom of the
Yeah,
pack. But anyway, and Indiana State wasn't going there. It was like another Maine. That was cool, even though the law of Larry Bird and all those things.
of course.
Jacksonville, I was considering that because my dad is from Jacksonville. Rest in peace to my dad. So,
Yeah,
but Fairleigh Dickinson was the best place for me. I had a lot of things going on in my family, so I wanted to stay close. So that
yeah,
was the perfect place for me. Now, I get to Fairleigh Dickinson. I'm eligible all the way up to maybe a week before the season starts.
yeah,
I'm in front of the media guy. I'm all set to go.
yeah,
They come and say, you're ineligible. The school is having a problem with the grades you achieved at MCI. Now, let me explain something to you. MCI is a prestigious prep school. It's not about cheating. I earned all of my grades there,
yeah,
right? No cheating at all. Right about now, I would have said it, yo, they hooked me up, but they didn't. I earned my grades there.
yeah.
They Prop 48 me.
Really?
I'm just now you talking about distraught. I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to go to junior college. I don't want to sit out. Who the hell wants to sit out? I'm ready to go. I
Or
know I'm gonna play and I may crack into the start lineup. I don't have no doubt about that.
yeah, yeah. And
Call
you
my guy,
sacrifice. You're huge. You know.
call my mom. My mom said, no, you're not leaving. You got a scholarship. You stay in your ass right there and you're gonna finish it out.
Oh, thank you, Mama.
This is crazy.
Yeah,
So I, end up finishing up at Fairleigh Dickinson, got my degree.
yeah,
Had a good college career. Um, and I'm gonna keep it real. I played 2.5 years, maybe not even that, not even a half, because got my knee hurt in my sophomore year.
yeah,
It's crazy, right?
yeah.
So with all this stuff that happened to me and what was going on, I still had one of the greatest college lives ever. You can ask anybody who went to school with me; they'll tell you. Pooh ran everything at Fairleigh Dickinson when I was there. I
Ah,
was the guy. The lady loves Pooh. You couldn't get no better than that. I had my own apartment for 4 years straight. You can't get no better than that. While everybody else has roommates and living in dorms.
perfect, man.
Look, it is what it is. So I understand because I am someone who come from the controversy.
Yeah,
But what's going on now is real confusing.
so confusing.
It's so confusing. I had people hit me up like, "Yo, Poole, you should do a documentary about what's going on.
Yeah.
This is like this is really some 30 for 30 New York City style basketball thing that's going on, and we don't have any of the information to kind of report it to everybody. Say, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
This is exactly what it is. But what I do know, because I made calls to the people that run things over there, and they didn't get back to me. But when I put up my post the other day, like, if you want to call me, like, listen, at least say, yo, we don't have the information, we can't give it out right now, Poole. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they still working it out. So I can't put no blame on anyone, but I just wish they reached out to, the people who cover the high school game, so we can kind of give the people something, because people want to know.
Yeah.
People want to know.
Exactly. And sometimes that no response is the worst response, Just let a little thing out there, hey, we're working on it. As soon as we get facts, we'll get back to you. And that's the scary part, like we talked about, is we don't know. And the thing that worries me the most is there could be legal action involved. It's gotten to a crazy point. It's gotten to a crazy point.
Very, very crazy indeed. So tonight, y'all don't want to miss this episode. Hang on, because we have a special guest coming on. This person is or was an insider, right?
Yeah.
And he can really give his expert opinion of what's going on, what needs to be done. And look, he's my mentor, so I got to give him a chance to speak his mind and kind of bring some kind of clarity to what's going on. He just didn't want to talk to me. He wanted to talk to the people. So I want to make sure he's straight. Hold on. Call him back again, because you got me. Please don't leave, people. Trust me. Yeah, I resent it. Yes, do that. Yep. And I'm waiting for you. All right. Yeah, you gotta let them have access to your mic and your camera. Are you on the phone or you on your computer?
You gotta love this.
All right, so we can't do that while you're on the phone, so I gotta click off and then re-enter. Go out and re-enter the room. Oh, yeah, so it still should work. If not, you should go on your computer. Yeah, I sent it to your email. If it's not in your inbox, it should be in your email. I mean your spam. Y'all already know what it is, because if y'all on YouTube right now, y'all know we have the legendary Coach Ray Haskins coming on. He is the former director of the PSAL, and it's my mentor. So, hello? Are you on your computer or you on your phone? But you ain't gonna be able to get it if we on the phone together. Oh, big time. You got two phones like me. All right, Coach. All right. I know we've been on for like 19 minutes. Oh, there you go. Peace, Coach. All right. So before we bring them on,
oh baby,
we gotta do what we gotta do. All right. It's 20 minutes in, and we just putting the intro on. We'll be back. right, we back. And I'm going to start it off by saying this again. The views and opinions of our next guest are not the views and opinions of me and Coach Reinkert. But he's my mentor. So it is what it is, like Cam and Mace. Introducing one of the greatest coaches in New York City history. Community activist, official, former teacher, former principal, former assistant principal, former director of the PSAL, the one and only Coach Raymond Haskins. What's up, Coach?
Good evening. Good evening.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of confused with all the things going on in our beautiful city, in our sports world. Hope we could get a cap on things and straighten things out as they should be. We're the basketball capital of the world, the sports capital of the world. Everything comes through us, so we have to get it right.
Yeah, when you text me this morning and you said, listen, I want to come on the podcast because there's a lot of things that's confusing right now in New York City high school basketball. And if anyone has anything to say about it or the foundation to back it up, is you, Coach, because you're a long-time coach in the PSAL, product of the PSAL, and you was one of the heads, or not the head of the PSAL at one point. So we don't want nobody to get it twisted, right? Like Coach coming up here to kind of bash the PSAL in any way. He called me because I'm his mentee, and he wanted to get on and the platform, which I run and own. So I definitely have to give him a voice. But Coach, let me introduce you to my partner on High School Basketball Weekly, Coach Brian Reinkert.
Coach, how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing much better now that you're on, my man. We appreciate you battling those technical difficulties, man. We really do, Coach.
Well, we're here. You're here. But people that know me know that I'm not a basher. The only thing I do is tell the truth, and we're in need of the truth with what's going on here. A lot of things are just not right. They just don't sit right with me at this particular time of the year. The way things just went down, it's strange at best.
Yeah, I had Mike Quick on last night. Salute to Mike Quick. And I asked him about that situation, and he said it was just strange that it happened at this time of the year. And he said that it was unfair for the schools who got removed from the playoffs at the end of the year where it didn't happen early on. And I just wanted to know, like, really, like, who does it benefit, right? Like, think about this. Like, who do you blame? How does this affect the kids? Who benefits from the kids' grades being exposed? Do you rearrange the brackets all over again? Will there be a mass exodus from public school to Catholic school? Like, do you know the implications this might have?
Well, who they shouldn't blame is the coaches and the athletic directors. And let me tell you why. In New York City, the athletic director is not a part-time position. It's a piecemeal position where it's done maybe 1 or 2 hours a day, maybe sometimes not even that. Now, if you travel around the country and just go outside of New York City, and you'll notice that they have athletic directing position as full-time people that work there full-time. So some of the things that has been cited, had you had a full-time person in that position, those things, I mean, you could come at the athletic director, you could point fingers, but it's so difficult to point fingers at this because hey, you got an athletic director at Thomas Jefferson. That's not even a whole teacher at Jefferson. She teaches in a whole nother building. So that's a whole different responsibility, you know. And I just say to myself, this is kind of strange because did they do this with all the other sports? The days before the championship, did they go in and do an audit for the football,
Oh,
for volleyball, for any of those sports? And then we all know. I'm sitting here talking to you, and I know for a fact if you trace my journey, I went to school, I went to college for one reason and one reason alone, and I'm not ashamed to say I went to college to play basketball. It was that important to me. That was the vehicle, that was the means to my end, and I got on that journey, and I wanted to play basketball or whatever it took to play basketball. That's what I did. Now, people that know me also know that I have 7 daughters, and none of them played any sports, any particular sports. But they went to college only because their father went to college to play basketball, and I found out what the importance of an education was. Myself, like a lot of young black men in New York City, we depend on these extracurricular activities to be the fruit that feeds us to move on and be successful in life. Now, with what's going on now and the way we're attacking uh, the successful basketball programs or sports programs in the city, and I know for a fact that uh, Thomas Jefferson, the coaches at Thomas and Jefferson, I go all over the country and I watch basketball. They have one of the finest coaching staffs in the country, bar none, any level, high school, college, professional. These guys are sincere. The coaching staff at South Shore, they're sincere. And a lot of times I see a lot of things going on with uh, a lot of people on the outside want to attack people who aren't teachers and happen to be associated or involved in our high school sports. Now, because of my history and the fact that I was a teacher and I've been in and out of schools and was assistant principal, a principal, and I know things that go on. I was in schools at Alexander Hamilton High School or Automotive High School where we had teachers who taught classes in our academic schools, our trade schools, who were not college graduates. They just had high school diplomas.
Mm.
Now tell me, what's the difference in what they do than what we do? You know, I was hoping to be able to impact on New York City school system because I had a front row seat. You know, I served in a lot of capacities, and when I became the executive director of the PSAL, I went through a process. I was qualified. Uh, I interviewed. I, I got through the interview process, and I was selected as the executive director. Uh, then things are going along, and the next thing I know, they bring in Mr. Harris, and he applied for my position, but he didn't even get an interview. And the people that did the interviewing were people who knew him because they worked with him prior at the PSAL. And when he came in, I open arms. I'm so let's work together. But I just think he came in with something that was personal, and he went right at me and didn't allow me to do a lot of things. A lot of the changes that you saw in the PSL this year with the formulating of the different divisions and everything, that was part of things that I plan on putting in place. Why? Because I saw the need. I was outsider, insider, all around sider. So I had an idea of what should happen in the PSAL. I look at the Catholic schools and I just commend them, the things they do. Tell me, how could Catholic schools have varsity A, varsity B, freshman teams, JV teams, and PSL has far more funds to do all those kind of programs, and we don't do it.
Yep.
I mean, we had the same amount of gymnasium space and all that. Rudy King, great coach. He's coaching varsity B in Catholic school. I just saw where he won the city championship. Why can't we have a varsity B at all our schools? If this is what makes our kids want to come and be a part of something, then let's give it to them. Let's allow them to do that. I mean, I remember when I was coaching years ago, the coach at Tollentine, one of the finest programs in the city. He was a tasty bread salesman, but they allowed him to come in and coach their team to prominence. I mean, when coach, he had a coach at one of the Catholic schools, one of the top Catholic schools in Queens. He had an expertise in the sport of basketball. He didn't even have a high school diploma. And he coached city championships. He had nationally ranked teams. Why? Because he came in with a passion, what he wanted to give. I think we have to re-examine. We talk about community schools and partnerships, and we want to partner with the community. Well, then we have to have the community involved. I, as a former teacher, I can see some of the things that teachers say about them not having that connection with the community, but get connected with the community, because a lot of these programs that these guys are running are connected with the community, and that's what we need. Whatever it takes to help our young men and young women be successful, then I'm all for it. Why not? Why can't we have that?
Coach, when did they come up with the rule that you have to be a teacher to be a coach? Was that always in place in the PSL?
It was always in place at the PSAL, but we always allowed people. We always had schools or situations where principals were smart enough to know that I have a teacher, and he's a teacher, but he knows nothing about a particular sport. But I have someone in the school, a school aide, a school para, a person on the PTA that has an expertise that can lend a hand and help guide these young men. When I was a principal at Maggie Walker Middle School, I didn't have a music teacher. So I reached out to community, and I got Spike Lee's father, Bill Lee. And I let him come in my school, and he worked what we call F status as a professional, and he was my music person in the school. And the kids loved it, man. And I mean, we got so much from the fact that no, we couldn't find a music teacher, but there are people who are qualified. I just can't see why can't we do that? So I know I see the inner workings of some of our schools where they're connected with foundations, and they have people that work in their schools who are deans and disciplinarians and counselors who aren't college graduates or who aren't certified, but they're paid through foundations who are connected with the schools. I mean, we got to think outside the box, man. And let me say this: I know we have a chancellor and we have a mayor that are very caring. They actually care about it, but something has to happen. One of the things I tried to do as executive director of PSAL, I tried to get the coaches to organize. We need professional coaches organizations so they could have a voice. So when things happen, they're not in on an island by themselves trying to defend something where they have all the coaches that are backing what's right behind them. So, and we need that. We need those kind of things, and we need those things to be put in place.
Coach, you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you think they have that, the coaches association? I mean, that would help unify them so much and give them so much more confidence. Like you said, when they face these situations.
It's simple. No one stepped forward to do it, and and to be truthful, it should be pushed by the PSAL. That should be a part of it. See, another thing that as teachers, a coach is just another name or another title for teacher. Every week in the New York City school system, you have professional development for teachers. Why don't we have professional development every week for coaches? I was very fortunate when I came through as a young coach. I went the camp route. I worked a lot of camps. I made a lot of friendships. Jim, God bless these guys. Jim Valvano, friends with John Thompson, with John McClellan, Big House Games. All these guys I made connections with. And one of the things they asked me to do, they said, if you're really serious about coaching, you should join the National Association of Basketball Coaches. And when they recommend, I did. And I recommend this to all coaches, community coaches, high school coaches, college coaches. Get connected with a professional organization so you could have someone at a point of reference to ask questions or get guidance, get some kind of direction to. But we definitely should. We definitely should. And the impetus should come from the New York City Department of Education to have our coaches organized.
Well, last year I was invited to Thomas Jefferson, and Coach Lawrence Pollard. Um, he did talk about having a coaches association. He talked about that. That was one of the things that they brought up. And I guess when we talk about kids making McDonald's All-Americans or being Mr. Basketball, and the public schools don't have a say-so because they don't have a coaches association, that's hurting a kid who may be a top kid in the whole state, in the whole country, but can't be a runner-up for Mr. Basketball or McDonald's All-American team.
Who's our last public school McDonald's All-American? Do you know?
I think, what was it, Isaiah Whitehead from Lincoln?
Yes.
Tiny had the last few of them that I know of.
Yeah,
Probably.
probably.
He has Bashy, he had Lance, he had Isaiah, all that I know of.
Probably that.
Know. Yes.
But this is another thing that's going on in this city, and I just can't understand. We service 1/3 of the students of the city of New York in public schools with public school sports. The other 2/3 go unserviced, elementary and middle school. And if we want our kids to be uniform with rules and regulations like this about having a certain amount of days that you in attendance and all that, it should start early on, just like reading, writing, math, arithmetic, all those things. So I know when I was a kid, We had PSAL elementary school, PSAL middle school. We had championships. We had all that. The PSAL even ran the night centers. Yeah, they ran the night centers.
I remember that.
And that was great. And to me, that's put money, that's an investment in our future. So, I mean, the Catholic schools, a lot of the Catholic schools, what they have, they don't have those kind of middle school sports, but they do have CYO. And that's a feeder for a lot of their programs, for their volleyball programs, for their soccer, for tennis. Those are feeder programs for Catholic schools, Catholic youth organization. And they Catholic schools, they do so much with so little and accomplish a great deal. And I just can't, I don't see why we can't do that in public schools. What's the reason? Why can't we have middle schools that are organized where the students understand, just like they understand the standards, what they have to have, the mandated state tests, all that structure. Why can't we have that structure in sports coming up? Get somebody answer that. Why?
Yeah, Ron Clario said, salute to Coach Ron Clario. He said the city needs to use the people who are leaders. And then my guy Eric Kennedy said it's hard to have a coaches association when there's bad blood among the coaches, and this is why the title of today's broadcast is a civil war brewing in New York City.
Well, it could be bad blood, but bad blood could turn to good blood with a dialogue. You just need somebody who's organized, who's going to get out there and recognize those kind of obstacles that we have to overcome, period. You can't tell me like a guy like Glenn Poole Harding couldn't get together and organize a coaches association, bad blood or any kind of blood. Everybody talks to you. Everybody talked to Tom Kachowski. Everybody. You got certain people. People talk to Ted Gustis. You have people that are here. Just like Coach Clarion said, we have people that are here that can organize that can get that kind of understanding. Period. It's coaches. Nobody would never know the coaches that I dislike when I coached. You would see me with them. We call you respectful, all that. But that's just
send me an email, Coach. Send me an email. Send me an email. Coach LeClaire wants to come on. This is wow. I told y'all this is going to be epic. Kubi TV Network said they should put together a panel to make that choice on who should be Mr. Basketball. Now I'm gonna say this. Coach brought me up to the PSAL last year, right? To help them with the playoff seedings. And not for nothing, and it's not to knock anyone up there, for everything that they were doing, everybody had their hearts in the right places. But Coach knew that I saw more games than everybody up there put together. And what everybody was using the computer for, I could go into my mental Rolodex and tell you who's who and what's happening. Got a lot of pushback for that. So I always got to stand firm with Coach because he stood by me. He could have threw me under the bus and said, you know what? He asked to come up here. Whatever the case may be, Coach didn't do that. Even when he was in the midst of fire and people was pointing the finger at Coach stood by me. And and he's been doing that my whole life. So this is no different, right?
Yeah.
This is going to get very interesting. Wow. Hold on. This is very interesting. Hold on before it says it now makes sense why Shamari Pons didn't make McDonald's AA or win Mr. Basketball after scoring 40 points against Chino Hills, Elite, and Jeff to their first PSAL. Well, not their first PSAL. First PSAL championship since in 62 years, and also first state championship. This is crazy.
Well,
Go ahead. We're
I
going to
just
bring
know
Coach
that,
on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Coach, you want to ask him another question?
Oh yeah, Coach, I got one for you, and it's kind of serious, but you hinted on a lot of stuff. Do you think the PSAL is taking athletics seriously enough, and in particular basketball?
well, no, we have to we have to have a more personal investment in was happening, and we have to understand how important it is. I understood how important it was because it was my journey. Listen, my journey through the school system is when I played. I was on my middle school team, but the coach didn't put me in one game.
Very
I
true.
went to practice every day. I went to my high school. I went to one of the best high schools in the boys' high. I tried out every year. I got cut
Yeah,
every year.
yeah,
The thing that saved me was the organizations on the outside, the organizations at the PSAL. They had a night center league, which would be similar to what we would call varsity B. And
yeah.
I played in the night center league and helped develop my talents. I went on and I got a basketball scholarship. I was all conference. I was all everything. When my high school coach from Boys High came and saw me play in the CIAA tournament, after the game, he saw me outside the locker room. He had to see me and he apologized to me. Because
Oh,
every year I tried out for the team. He said, Haskins, it's no way in the world you could be this good. And I shouldn't have had you on the team. I said, Mr. Jones, you didn't have me on the team, but because of what was going on in the city and all the other things, all the other opportunities that New York City presented to me, playing the park department, playing the CBS tournament, playing in the night centers, I still got that structure that I needed to be able to give me enough confidence to go on to college and get a scholarship and play.
that's incredible. And isn't it sad that there's not one opportunity like that for a kid today, Coach?
No, no, I listen. This is my greatest disappointment with the chancellor. I tried to meet with him so I could just give my vision to him.
Yeah,
I called him. He wouldn't talk to me on the phone. He would meet with me. I just wanted to give him my vision about how I thought the things that I wanted to do in order to bring the PSA up to speed. Now, the chancellor knew me, but he didn't know me. Now, the mayor, the mayor is such a grounded person in the city of New York. I know he knows who I am. He don't know me, but I know he knows who I am, and it's people around him that know who I am. And I got a voice. I got ideas. I went through it. I sat in so many different situations. I know I was an assistant coach on Division 3 level. Division 3 level at Pratt Institute, assistant coach. So if I can humble myself to be an assistant, because in order to be a head coach, you got to know what an assistant does. Because how can you ask somebody to help you, or how can you formulate a program without actually knowing the ABCs of the program?
correct.
Coach, was you talking about Howie Jones when you was talking about
I'm
that?
talking about the great Howie Jones, who won 5 city championships.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. That's one of the things he said. He's late on in life. He said to me, he said, two of the biggest mistakes I made, and of course I apologize to you already. You should have been on my team, and the others is that I should have steered more of my players to HBCUs because he was a product of HBCUs. He was a great player at Virginia Union. He's still listed as one of the 50 top players in the history of the CIAA. And that's saying something. He coached in the CIAA at Virginia Union. He was just a great man who came from a great tradition, who played under And this is another thing. I just thought that back in the 50s and the 60s, we had more basketball people who actually coached basketball.
Mm.
You had more football people who actually coach football. One of the things that hurt sports in the public schools is when procession working time became pensionable. People started coaching and doing things just to
Woo!
enhance their pension.
Hold on, coach. Hold on. It's real talk right there. Turn your camera on, coach. Turn your camera on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same way you did before. You got on before. It's the same program. That's real right there. And look, and I'm gonna say this again. This is not in any way, shape, or form to bash the PSAL, right? But like my guy, Chariot Man Gaming said, he said put it on the screen. He said, in all the years I've been going to these PSL games, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. Fact.
Listen, my talent is being wasted. I'm here and I got over 50 years of experience, of knowledge, of love and understanding, of expertise to
Mhm.
give back. And I mean, when I worked at the PSL, and when Danny Harris came in, he just totally disrespected me. He took my decision making, all the authority away from me. The people that I signed off on their paychecks, all that he took away from me as an attack. And as, of course, trying to talk to the chancellor, and I know the chancellor has bigger fish to fry. He's doing a great job with this system, but I'm saying to him is, you should have had a conversation with me. I'm not a disrespectful person. I have an opinion. I'm going to tell you my opinion, and I'm going to respect your opinion. It's just a dialogue. I just thought we should have had a conversation about what should be done or what could be done, and what are the possibilities. One of the things, when I was named the executive director of the PSL, a lot of people, a lot of phys ed people, a lot of coaches said, we finally got one of our own
Yeah.
in that position. Somebody who understands what we have to do, what we go through. And I brought that to the table. So wherever I went, I was AP phys ed. I was athletic director.
Yeah.
I did all those. I ran one of the finest amateur softball leagues in the city of New York, right there at Kingston Park. I ran some of the best basketball leagues. I ran all those kind of things. And a lot of people try to say is Ray Haskins don't know what he's doing. No, you don't know what Ray Haskins is doing. Sit down and talk to me. Anybody, if you have a critical thought, if you think one way or another, I'm very approachable. The one thing that people say, Ray Haskins doesn't smile, but the people know that I may not smile, but they know I care.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true. Coach, you got a question?
Yeah, I definitely got one. So I'm going to throw you right in, Coach, and I know you can handle it. If you were in charge and you had kind of free reign and you didn't have anyone above you in the PSAL, how would you have handled the Thomas Jefferson situation throughout the playoffs?
Well, I would have went and had a conversation. Number one, those kind of things those decisions should not be made by one person. Those decisions should have been made by a coaching association where you bring these things up. Now, once again, you're asking athletic directors who aren't full-time, who aren't part-time, or only piecemeal, to come in every day and to check. Initially, when they check the attendance, the records, the grades for those individual student athletes, everything is hunky-dory. But to ask them to do it consistently every day, every sport, is beyond comprehension if they're not full-time people. If that was a full-time responsibility. That's just like the IEP. They have an IEP teacher in the school that goes over all the IEPs and covers and makes sure that all those mandated assessments are met. So now it's time to have that position in the public school system. If we want to put those kind of responsibilities on, to have full-time athletic directors in school buildings where their only responsibility is to run the athletic program. Yes, we're going to have some schools that might not merit it. But when we have these major schools that have football, they have 25, 26, or 26 sports, then yes, we should have a full-time person there to take care of those responsibilities.
Coach, is there anything that you could say that Danny Harris did positively for the PSAL since he's been there? Is there anything anything that we could say on a positive tip, on a positive end that he's done since he's been there?
Well, Danny, he's been at the PSAL over 30 years.
Okay.
But as far as I wouldn't put it on him because I don't think he was properly trained for the position that he had.
Okay.
He never was a supervisor of anything. So I mean, we put a lot on him.
Okay.
But because of the kind of person he was, because of his personality, he wasn't willing to work with people. You got to be willing to work with people, and you got to come in with the understanding that you're not a boss. I was not a boss. Everybody I worked with was a colleague who had duties and responsibilities, and respect their lanes and their duties and responsibilities. But I'm not a boss. The only boss is the city of New York. That's the boss. And a lot of times people run into those personality conflicts because they think they're a boss and they're not boss. And being a supervisor is very, very, like coaching. I know as a coach, I try to treat all my players the same, but I couldn't talk to all of them the same. I had a kid by the name of Charles Jones who led the NCAA Division I in scoring 2 years in a row. And early on, I figured out I really couldn't raise my voice at Charles because he didn't respond to those kind of prompts. I had to put things in question forms. Charles, was that smart? You think we should have did that way? Those kind of things. And he responded. He responded like that. He was an artist. I mean, how many guys can we say came from New York City that led the nation NCAA in scoring 2 years in a row? I know Keon Clark did it, Charles Jones, and who else? Oscar Robertson, but not from New York City. Those were two New York City stalwarts that actually did it.
And last year, we want to welcome Coach Ron Leclerc to the show.
How you guys doing?
How we
Coach,
doing?
how you doing, Coach?
All right. John Arnold said Long Island ADs are full-time. And I was just in Long Island this weekend, and I saw how things run out there. And again, I'm going to say this again. This is not an attack on the PSAL or Danny Harris or anybody in charge over at the PSAL. You guys always treated me fairly and always, did the right thing by me. But we have a lot of questions that people want to voice their opinions, but we want to make sure that we keep it solid up here. And, He said, John Arnold said, are the PSAL members basketball people? Good question. Well, you got Lee Church up there, right? So, and then last year you brought in Tiny, Coach. Right?
I had Tiny. I had Julius Allen.
Yep.
I had Mike Irvin, Wendell Saunders. You know, all those guys were basketball people. Try to put the basketball people in the basketball lanes, the football people in the football lanes, the track people in the track lanes. You know, so we start with a basic understanding of someone just knowing. Now I know for a fact a lot of our basketball supervisors this year aren't basketball people. They came from other sports just to fill in those positions, as opposed to having people who, they didn't do it as a job. They didn't do it they did it as love, and they wanted to stay close to a particular sport that was important to them and that they loved. And that's the kind of understanding. Those are the kind of people that we need. You know, our best teachers are teachers who love teaching, teachers who love students, who love kids. You know, and oftentimes we get caught up in I could never say that I was a good coach. People had to say I was a good coach. Just like I got 7 daughters. I can't say that I was a good father. They had to tell you that I was a good father.
Yeah, now this is another thing. I'm gonna give this to you, Coach, and you don't have to answer this, but again, I'm gonna say this again. This is not an attack on the PSAL or the executive directors or the director at all. But we also have to give attention to the coaches for putting their programs in the situation, not putting blame on any of the coaches, because if they're going to find something, they're going to look for something, they're going to find something. Coach, I know you was holding on for a long time, trying to get in for about 15 minutes. You're here now. What are some of your opinions of what we were talking about tonight?
Well, first of all, I got to pick a bone with Ray Haskins, great commissioner of the Kingston Softball League. And he ended up having to umpire a game. And I'm playing for Showtime. And there was a shot against the fence. I leaped up and made a Ron Swoboda catch into the fence. And it ended the inning. We were tied. But Ray said I trapped it against the fence. Well, we had about 10 or 11 people wanting to kill him. And
Coach.
I said a few things to Ray that I don't think I'm allowed to say. But Ray took it in stride. And I don't know if Ray remembered. That was like 1998.
I remember, Coach. And after that game, after that play, we put cameras in the park, so we were able to go instant replay.
Yeah.
So that could never happen again.
But you know what? Ray is someone I always looked up to. When I was young, I had a vision to coach high school and move up to college. And when Ray moved up to college, whether it be Shaw University or LIU, he did a tremendous, tremendous job. And Ray, unfortunately, ran into some politics at LIU. And I'm sure Ray ran into some politics in the Board of Ed. But Ray is still going strong. We need guys like Ray. We need guys like Ray, and hopefully guys like myself that not only help kids that are in their school, but in every school. I know Ray, and I know I have helped a lot of kids that didn't go to Cardozo get into a junior college, get into a Division III school, made a phone call. Kids that went to a school, screwed up, needed a second chance. They find out that's what we do. I'm thinking of doing it again this year, but for about 10 years, I used to have a workout at a park, PS 46 near Cardozo. And the word got out, we would do individual instruction, skills development from 11 to 1, and then we would play. Well, you know what? It ended up, we started having 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 people every weekend. And the kids, and we also made it boys and girls. And this is something that I spoke to Ray about because we're involved in a sale program. We need the good people to be allowed to do good people ideas. And what I'm finding out is whenever you have a good idea, it's you can't. You can't. There's a rule. Well, What do you mean there's a rule? Let's change the rule. I mean, today I was on the phone with many coaches. They're calling me like, what's going on? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I just know it's insane. It's a tremendous black eye for the schools involved, and it's a tremendous black eye for the public school athletically. Is there one person who started or caused it? I don't know. I don't know the real whole story. But you know what? We can't we're floating around in this oil where we're not rising and we're not totally sinking. We're just stuck. And I know this. I know the Catholic schools are going to love to hear this, because if there's a kid that's thinking of going to a Catholic school or going to a public school, they're just going to start saying, look at the kids at a Christ the King or a Stepinac or Cardinal Hayes, how well they're doing. And let's look at the top programs in the PSAL and see the insanity that's going over there. I am embarrassed that I found out that we lost Barclays Arena and probably Madison Square Garden for reasons where people can't behave themselves. I mean, going into the Garden to play or coach, going into the Garden as a spectator, a fan, a parent, is a lifetime experience. I mean, the pictures that I've taken, the video clips that people still show me. We're having a 25-year reunion this year from my first city championship, 1999. That game was at the Garden, and I have that clip, and it's amazing how these 15 young men who played for me, their wives, their cheerleaders, they all can't wait to watch that game again. And we're talking basketball here. I want to let you know, and I said this to Ray, baseball, I was a baseball player. Cardozo, All City, St. John's, got drafted by the White Sox. I told this to the school's chancellor, David Banks. ESPN last March selected the 100 greatest baseball players of all time. And 6 are from the PSAL. Would you believe that? 2 from George Washington, Manny Ramirez, Rod Carew. 1 from James Monroe, Hank Greenberg. 1 from Aviation, Whitey Ford. 1 from Lafayette, not my roommate at St. John's, Johnny Franco, but the legendary lefty, Sandy Koufax. And the greatest first baseman of all, who went to Commerce, which is now Brandeis, Lou Gehrig. The history of the PSAL is the greatest history of any athletic high school association in the world. When you go overseas, the basketball and soccer is not high school. It's AAU outlet. Our history should be adored, honored. We should cherish it. We should have a PSA Hall of Fame, which was one of the things that I spoke with Ray when Ray became the executive director. I don't know where we're going. And you know what? I don't want to get into this migrant stuff and this and that, but I was told we're spending $10 million a day on migrants. Well, if we could just get 1 week of migrant money and let guys like Ray Haskins run what we need to do with $70 million, you would see kids that are zeros becoming fives, fives becoming eights, eights becoming tens. You would probably see the good gangs, basketball teams, baseball teams, football teams, soccer teams, those type of gangs growing, and then we would be able to fight the negative gangs, the gangbangers. What do you say, Ray?
No question about it, Coach. You know, I mean, it's just, I mean, we're here. Let's talk. Let's talk. I thought we started on that road when with Jasmine Ray, when we had the meeting at City Hall, when she convened that meeting at City Hall. I thought we were on our way to something special in this city. You know, she had a great idea. She's a great leader, and I thought we were going to move forward from that. And we need somebody like her in the mix to be able to move those things forward.
I also think
Coach,
we need.
Hold on for a sec, Coach. I just want to read some of these comments before we lose some of these people here, because they're making some great comments. Gary Irvin, salute to Gary Irvin on an excellent year and reaching another city championship game. He said we need, He said, what we need is for the people in New York City to change the narrative of our city and come together and get to the Mecca of basketball, get the Mecca of basketball back on top and stop having personal agendas for mass people. You know, look, it needs to be talked about because there's a lot going on and there's not enough unity, right? Because we have to start there. We could tell all these stories and we could go on and on for days, but we need to have unity in our city. That's the only way it's going to grow. Because if everybody's on their own separate islands doing their thing and not coming together to try to help build this up the way it should be, we're going to lose it all.
Well, I hate to say it, I think we are losing it because the outside people don't go PSAL. Maybe one or two select schools. If you're at a PSAL school that's a lower level and you're good, there's always somebody saying you got to move up, which I understand. And then you got the people saying, don't go public, go Catholic. And now you got the people, go Catholic, do well, and then go to a prep school. And I'm shaking my head. And I remember when Cole Anthony was at Archbishop Malloy and he left to go to Oak Hill. And I scratched my head. And I said to Cole, you're a McDonald's All-American. You got every school in the country recruiting you. You're going to go to Oak Hill for what? To play 40 games a year, of which 20 or 30 of them are against low-level comp because Mountain Wilson, Virginia is in the middle of nowhere. You're not playing it. And then I said, when you played Christ the King on ESPN Live on a Friday night, the whole nation saw it. You didn't get more excited than playing an Oak Hill prep school game when nobody cared about it? I mean, it bothers me that if you are at a top program, a South Shore, a Jefferson, a Christ the King, a Stepanek, a Cardinal Hayes, I'd like to think of Cardozo, and you are really doing well academically and basketball-wise, and you have to leave to get what you really want, then the city's dead.
Yeah, listen, we just have to do better. We have to put the kids first. Coaches have to coach and be teachers and be leaders and be role models because the energy that we put off towards each other, the kids will pick it up and start to mimic that behavior. It's a lot that need to be changed. If you're in a position or at a place where you just been there for a long time and you don't want change, things are going to get stagnated. And I think when we start to look at the bigger picture of anything, you got to be innovative. You got to be willing to change some things, right? Like Coach Niclario said, well, that's the rule. Let's see how we can change it if it's going to benefit kids in the long run.
Well, another thing I think you got to change. A custodian gets a building. All of a sudden, the custodian thinks it's his house. It's not his house. If the outside groups, if the Beacon programs want to use that at night, the night centers, like Ray Haskins said earlier, why? Why can't we get in there? And then, unfortunately, you have some principals that are pro sports, understand sports, know sports, want sports, love sports, and believe the value that sports bring. And then some other principals don't really understand it. And what's also sad is there are certain schools that want to have a JV. They can't add a JV. I know Bertram. Bertram's 3A boys team has done great. They're trying to add a JV. They can't. Why? I never want to hear we don't have enough money because you could always find a way of generating money in New York City. And you know what? If we don't generate the money to keep the kids here, you know what? The people with money are going to leave here. The people with a lot of money are definitely going to leave here. And then what are we just going to have? We're going to have the lowest socioeconomic people here praying and hoping that they can get their kids involved in something that as they grow up, they will become a positive, not a negative. And it's really, really sad that there are more kids in New York City getting obituaries than they are actually getting athletic scholarships.
Yeah, we heard your speech the other night at Tiny's Hall of Fame dinner, and it was very touching.
Thank you.
And that's the truth, because you know, a lot of these kids, once they finish high school and they don't have anything to look forward to, they don't have the basketball to look forward to. A lot of them are joining gangs because that's just another team for them. And Coach Haskins said at the beginning of the show that one of the main reasons why he went to high school every day and went to college is because he wanted to play basketball. And then later on, he found out there's other things he can do outside of the court to make himself successful. And then he got 7 daughters that all went to college because he wanted to play basketball, right? So a lot of time we want to punish these kids early on for not, like, say, having the right grades, and they should be. If you don't have the grades, you shouldn't play, right? But that should be taken care of early on instead of towards the end of the year, where it causes a lot of confusion and people, fans, spectators, parents, coaches don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden they're not allowed to play.
Listen, because I became the executive director of the PSAL, and because I was a known name, I had guys who were great athletes in the PSAL reach out to me wanting to come back. Like a lot of people, they see the signs, they hear about Black history, they hear about John Carlos, but they didn't know that John Carlos was a New York City kid. Bob Beeman reached out to me. Bob Beeman still has the long jump record in the 1968 Olympics.
Jamaica High School.
Those guys reach out to Ray Haskins because why? They know Ray Haskins was a New York City product from New York City public schools, and he's a community guy. He's not just, I don't just walk on one side of the street. I can walk on both sides of the street, and I never walk away from kids. If I see kids on one side of the street, I go on that side. What's up, fellas? How you doing? What's going on? I don't go to the other side to avoid them, because they need to hear from us. They need to know that we're not afraid of them. They came from us. We walk the same streets. They need to know our stories. When I was a principal, one of the biggest things I always pushed my teachers to do was to tell their students their story, because they couldn't look at them and see that these teachers came from the same journey that they're trying to walk. They came from the projects. They came from single-family homes. Some of them came from 2-family homes, but they came. We want to know your journey. Let them know that you're real. You're not just somebody from somewhere else. That's so important.
Listen, Eric Kennedy makes some great points, and I'm gonna go down the line real quick. First of all, I want to start off with who's that? Kubi TV Network. She said, I think someone needs to sit down with the person that runs the CUNY conference and turn the PSL into that format. And then we have Eric Kennedy said the Barclays Center is a different animal, though. Folks smoke weed in the stands and start beef in the stands, and it's different from the Garden. It's crazy. And this is why we're probably not there anymore. Schools like LIU, Brooklyn, and other Division I schools are not bothering to recruit the student athletes from the PSAL. Huge problem. Huge problem.
Not when Ray Haskins was there.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. That's right. And he had a lot of guys from the PSAL too.
Ray was the greatest Division I coach, because all he needed for a recruiting budget was either a couple of gallons of gas or a Metro card.
But when I was a coach at Shore University, and Mark Reiner, the great Mark Reiner, the great coach, PSAL coach Mark Reiner, was coaching Brooklyn College. He came to Raleigh to play North Carolina State. Him, I, and Jim Valvano got together, and a couple of writers noticed, said Mark Reiner coached the team at Brooklyn College. He had kids from Texas, from New Orleans, from all over. I had more kids from Brooklyn, New York on my Shore University team than Mark Reiner had on his Brooklyn College team.
That's true. John Arnold said huge problem on Long Island with the custodians thinking they own the building.
So true.
BMW said, 357 said, great episode should be shown to all student athletes, also to coaches and the PSAL hierarchy.
You know what? I believe there are a lot. I know David Banks personally. I think he's great for New York.
Great man.
I know there's people around him, like an Aaron Barnett, a couple of deputy chancellors. If they would just say, wait a second, we heard about this episode. Let's listen. And they say, Ray, I heard these great ideas. How come I never heard them? Or Ron, you sound like Ray, but a little younger. Let me hear your ideas. And let's face it, I really don't want to hear money. I don't want to hear money because you know what? We can get the money to save kids' lives, to make New York City Public School Athletic League the greatest thing in the world. I was really mad because when I got into an argument with a Catholic school coach about a year ago, he says, Ron, you know what the PSAL stands for? So I go, Public Schools Athletic League. He goes, no, pathetically stupid athletic league. And I was embarrassed because you know what?
You don't want to hear about the acronyms I heard.
Well, you know what? I mean, listen, I'm getting older. I still think I have a lot in me as a coach, but I don't think I'm ever going to move up to college, which I don't want to. NBA, Royal Ivy, one of my former players, says if he gets a head coach, but I got to wait. I still love what I want to do. But what I do as a coach is really from November to February or March, a little early in March if you get upset. But what do I do from March to November? Yes, I work with my kids. I put them in some tournaments, but why can't I work with more kids? Why can't people like Ray and myself teach the coaches how to coach? Teach them drills, teach them skills. There's so much. When I met with Ray a couple of weeks ago, I gave him a packet of 1,000 pages of notes that I wrote that I would love to give any coach in New York City how to coach, how to deal with problems. Like Ray said, some kids you can get in their face, you get them to play harder. Some kids, if you get in their face, well, it's going to become a disgrace because they can't handle it. So you have to learn. There's not only coaching X's and O's, there's the psychology of coaching. And there's so much to coaching. Anybody who thinks coaching is easy is crazy. And the one thing that everybody will say, every athlete that was an athlete would say, the person besides their mother and father that had the greatest influence in their life was the coach.
Facts. Correct.
That's a fact.
Definitely mine's. Coach, Coach Ron Kurt, you have anything you want to say before we wrap this up in a few minutes?
Well, I want to say something to Brian. Brian,
yeah,
I see you out there working. What can we do? And I know what we can do, but I want to hear it from somebody not as a coach. What can we do to try to get more of our talented athletes scholarships? D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, D1, 2, D3.
Yeah, what can you guys do? I mean, Coach, it's a great question because it's getting harder and harder, Coach. I talked about it on the last episode. My uncle, who was a big-time coach at St. Anthony's in Long Island, kind of like you, Coach Niclario, if somebody called him, the coaches would come in and say, who do you got? Who do you got for me? And it's almost like a total different process where you have to almost kind of go out and approach these coaches just to tell them that you have a kid to look at. But what I would suggest for the PSAL is, make sure you guys are getting seen by as many places as you can. Make sure you have a great non-league schedule. Make sure that, like you said, you always put your guys in stuff in the off season because it's getting more difficult and difficult to get in the gyms during the season, Coach Niclario. So I think a lot of it is the off season that is helping these kids, which is crazy to even think about. But
I would love to have a PSAL summer league, during the live period. For that 1 week, the live period, each school put a team in. If the coaches don't want to do it, shame on them. Because you know what? Guys like Ray and guys like Ron, you know what? We haven't done everything for money. I remember one year, Joe Cavallo, the AD at Cardozo, says, Ron, I want you to sign in and sign out every hour you put in. I got paid for 210 hours that year. I was embarrassed when I handed him my timesheet, 1,016 hours. I was embarrassed.
Well, when we look at the grand scheme of things, right, we know the kids are up against the transfer portals, right? the live periods being shortened because they extended the transfer portal and put that into the live period for the high school kids. And for the PSAL, the knock has been kids don't have the grades. This is why the college coaches, they all flock to the Catholic School League. Now, with things like this happening, this only going to put another stain on the PSAL. What can you guys do, or what do you think that the rest of the coaches and the schools can do to make sure that these kids is qualified and able to go to college on a scholarship?
Ray, you want to take that?
Yeah, well, number one, I just hope and pray that this conversation that we are having now is not taking it in a negative fashion, but is taken for something to move forward and to help us move in that direction. You know, professional development, our guidance counselors in the schools that deal with student athletes and scholarships and those goals and objective things that have to be in place. They should have professional development. They should be developed in order to help. How many guidance counselors in these schools actually know what they have to have, what student athlete package has to be in order for them to qualify? I think that's important. We lost a lot, God bless his soul, when we lost Richard Cossett, because he was 100% behind educating guidance counselors and school systems about having those particular things in place. So we really need professional development for our guidance counselors. And also for our, if you're going to coach, you should make the commitment to not coach a team, but to coach a program. You know, when you coach a program, it's not just the kids, it's the parents, it's the community, those kind of relationships that you have to have. Coach Clarion, you don't coach a team, you coach a program. Bud and Sheldon at Jeff, they don't coach teams, they coach programs. They have total programs where I've seen where parents pick up the phone and call. I need some help with this. I'm out of a job. I need to get a job. Hey, can you get me a job? No, but I can make a referral for someone who can. And that's what coaches have to be. They have to be more than just coaching team. They have to be a resource in that particular school community.
Well, I had a rap song which I'm going to use my last line. Everyone loves the player in the court who hustles and dives. I wanted to coach basketball. I ended up coaching lives. And that's what you got to realize, that these kids' problems becomes your problem. These kids' solutions become your solutions. These kids' greatness becomes your greatness, your program's greatness. Is the reason why certain kids want to go to certain programs more than other programs. Success breeds success. And I would love to help coaches that would love to have more success. How to do it, why you do it, what you need to do, maybe how to have your administration get you back. And that's one of the other things too. There are a lot of administrations that let you do what you got to do, but some administrations are just a tad worried that, gee, you know what? If you do this, maybe there'll be a parent, maybe there'll be a little negative feedback. So I don't know if you can really do that. And I want to take away the fear out of doing things that coaches believe is 100% positive.
Well, again, I agree, Mason. Not all PSAL schools. You're right, because I was at Brooklyn, Eagle Brooklyn practice earlier in the year when I was doing my preseason tour, and there was a lot of college coaches in the gym. You're right about that. Brian McFadden said, I wonder why they don't create a summer league within the summer rising format so coaches have a chance to continue to develop their players, both academically and athletically. And also, J Fat, that name sound familiar. Put your name on the screen, because that name sound I think I've seen that name before, right? Jay Fabby said, I have mandatory study hall, and the only way not to attend is a GPA of 3.0, which Rob Phelps does a lot. You can't play unless you have an 80 average at Bedford Academy. And I think if you put yourself over the standard, if you fall a little bit, you're okay, right? But I just think if, we're going to not point the finger at the powers that be, because the powers that be can only put the rules up or enforce the rules if people are not following the rules. So some ownership got to go to these programs and also to make sure that everybody have their things in order so no one gets chastised. Right? Who else said yes? Every time St. Ray's come on, my brother yeah, okay, come on. Yes, that's right. Facts. About Book
Listen,
Richardson. Salute to Book Richardson.
I say to the coaches that want to win, great. And you know what? God doesn't like ugly. And when you do it ugly, you know what? You might get over in the short term, but in the long term. If you want to be a college coach, don't ever come to high school because you're going to get boxed in. And you could have the greatest winning record. You could be 30-0 for 2, 3, 4 years. It's not like, all right, you won too many games in high school, you move on to college. No, just go straight to college. If you're in high school, you love it. You love it. And you know what? You love it to the point when you lose or you lose a kid. And I lost a couple of kids. I mean, I had the 14-year-old Amir Griffin shot and killed. I had Dwayne Brunson shot and killed. I have 2 parents, a junior point guard and a junior center. One mother was shot in the head and killed. One parent was father shot in the head and killed. So every time I see them, it eats me every day. Because if I was their age and I had to go through life without a mother and a father, I wouldn't know how I would do it. I lost my parents. I lost my mother a couple of years ago when I was 63. I don't know how to move on without it now when I'm 67. So I wouldn't know how to do it if I was 17. So to see the negative, but I know they need me. They need Cardozo. They need the Cardozo basketball family. And I hope by doing what is right as a person, blessing them with love, care, kindness, that maybe God blesses me and my basketball family. Maybe the shot in a 1-point game will roll around the rim and roll in instead of roll around the rim and roll out.
Salute to my brother Larry Cave on the check-in. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks a lot. Coach Haskins, I'm going to let you end off the broadcast because you're the reason why we are live tonight and you're the reason why we're here. Told you the godfather of this platform. You always help me out. I love you so much. Thank you for all the opportunities you have given me and always being there in my corner and just, being solid, 10 toes down every time. So we want to end this off, but let you have the last words.
Thank you. Let's bring back the PSAL to middle schools. Let's that be our goal. Let's develop middle school, and so that we can have the same kind of climax that we have in the high schools. And when we do that, we build a structure for kids to move along the school system in an orderly and structured manner. They know what to expect and what to have. So we just need we need that to develop our city.
Coach Ron Kurt, you have any last word before we get out of here?
I would just love, because I'm seeing the comments are so great and so positive, that hopefully the people that have the clout, the mayor's office, the mayor's chancellor, the mayor's deputy, the school's chancellor, the school deputies can see this and see that there are good people wanting to do more, and we have ideas that can definitely be put into place.
Well said. I just want to thank both you guys for coming on. You guys are truly legends. You guys have, impacted so many lives, probably a million that you guys don't even know about. So definitely want to thank you for all you guys do. And my last thing was, Coach Niclario, when are we going back out to the Final Four? You probably don't even remember. We went, I think, like 7-8 years ago. We went hung out at the Jay Wright party you snuck me into.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm a member of the NABC, National Association of Basketball Coaches. Like Ray said, 39 years. I'll be on a plane April 4th. I'm actually doing a clinic out there, and
awesome.
hopefully you'll be out there and we can maybe meet up with Jay and have a few cold ones again.
We'll let you know, my man. I'll let you know if I get out there.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate you, Coach. Hey, listen, we're about to get out of here. I'd like to thank everybody that was on the check-in tonight. Listen, we're about to get out of here, but for those that's on Instagram, my guys over at NYC Prospects, 2 Claps, is definitely getting it on Instagram. So go check out their show. We did an emergency show tonight because Coach Haskins wanted to come on, and this is it, baby. Listen, we don't make the rules. We don't enforce the rules. We just report the news.
That's it.
That's it. Coach, thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Okay, fellas.
All right. Wow.
Wow, man. What a show. 2 legends, man. 2 icons. I can't believe Coach DeClario hopped on too. I mean, the audience was spoiled tonight. And like you said, Pooh, the number one thing, because I'm from the Catholic League in Long Island. You know, you have experience in the PSAL. I've been involved with the Catholic League in New York City for years. I love the PSAL. They've treated me like gold every time.
That's right.
And they've shown me nothing but love. I've made so many new connections, friends, so many kids I've helped out in the PSAL. And I'm going to help out a million more because I love this league. So this episode, and the reason we do this, is to get the stuff out there, talk about it, because that's the only way we can make it better. Like the coaches said, all the PSAL coaches need to band together, make the league stronger. That's what we want. I want the PSAL and the Catholic League in the city to be the best 2 leagues in the entire country, not just the area. So that's the goal, at least on my end, and I know your end too.
You're a Catholic school guy. I'm a public school guy. And again, this is no way a shot at anybody over at the PSAL. We appreciate you guys. We know it's a lot to deal with. I know if I was in that position, it would be a lot for anyone and to get right in these last couple of days and all this pressure that you guys been up against. So just hope we get it right. Again, thank you, Coach Haskins. Thank you, Ron Clario. Ron Clario never missed a chance to be on the stage, so we have to make sure he gets some shot.
Electric. The fact that he brought up the catch against the fence, like, you know, he's been so hot about that and looking to tell Ray.
Facts. Facts.
And Ray was ready. That was the best part.
Coach is always ready. Coach is always on point. And I'm glad he was able, you know, to get his point across today and tell his story. It's important.
Also, shout out everyone in the comments, man. We love this stuff. So send us comments, emails, like, subscribe, you know, follow us both on Twitter or Instagram, and become part of the journey because we want to involve everybody.
Yes, sir. We're about to be out of here. Thank you. Good night.
Later, Pooh.
Peace.